Hey everyone, welcome back to VeloView, the place where we celebrate the legends of the road and dive deep into the stories that shaped automotive history. Today, we're talking about a true American classic that defined an entire era of muscle cars, the 1970 Pontiac Firebird and its high-performance sibling, the Trans Am. This car wasn't just about brute force, it was a symbol of power, style, and innovation that set new standards for what a muscle car could be. The 1970 model year marked a complete redesign for the Firebird, and it remains one of the most admired and collectible muscle cars ever built. When Pontiac unveiled the second-generation Firebird in 1970, it was clear that this wasn't just a facelift. The car was entirely new from the ground up, featuring a sleeker, more aerodynamic shape that gave it a low, aggressive stance. The design was heavily influenced by European sports cars, with smooth, flowing lines and a long, sculpted hood that made the car look fast even when standing still. The split grille design became a Firebird signature, giving the front end a sharp, beak-like appearance that set it apart from everything else on the road. This was not just a car for drag strips, it was a car that combined beauty, balance, and performance. The Firebird's new body sat on the F-body platform, shared with the Chevrolet Camaro, but Pontiac engineers gave it its own unique character. The design was lower and wider, improving stability and handling. The rear featured a fastback style with a short deck, adding to its aerodynamic efficiency. The muscular fenders, pronounced curves, and perfectly balanced proportions made it one of the best-looking American cars of the 1970s. Even today, it's regarded as one of the finest examples of classic muscle car design, blending aggression with elegance in a way few others could. Inside, the 1970 Firebird reflected Pontiac's growing emphasis on driver comfort and control. The cockpit-style interior wrapped around the driver, with a deep-set dashboard filled with round, aircraft-inspired gauges. Everything was positioned to enhance the driving experience. The seats were sporty yet comfortable, designed to hold the driver firmly in place during spirited driving. Compared to other muscle cars of the era, which often felt rough and minimalistic inside, the Firebird delivered a surprisingly refined environment. It was as much a grand tourer as it was a muscle car, appealing to enthusiasts who wanted both performance and sophistication. Under the hood, Pontiac offered a variety of power plants, but the real magic happened in the Trans Am variant. The base Firebird came with a modest inline-six producing around 155 horsepower, but the lineup quickly climbed through V8 options that delivered serious muscle. The Firebird 400 models featured a 6.6-liter V8 producing about 330 horsepower, but the 1970 Trans Am was the true performance hero. It came standard with the mighty 400 cubic inch Ram Air 3 V8 engine, rated at 345 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. For those who wanted the ultimate thrill, Pontiac offered the optional Ram Air IV version, officially rated at 370 horsepower but widely believed to produce well over 400. These engines gave the Trans Am incredible acceleration and made it one of the fastest production cars of its time. The 1970 Trans Am wasn't just about raw power. Pontiac engineers worked hard to make it a complete performance machine. The car featured a heavy-duty suspension system with upgraded springs, shocks, and stabilizer bars, giving it far better handling than most muscle cars of the era. The wide tires provided excellent grip, and front disc brakes ensured strong stopping power. All these features combined to create a car that felt equally at home on winding mountain roads as it did on the drag strip. It was one of the first muscle cars that could genuinely be called a driver's car, fast, balanced, and composed. Visually, the Trans Am made a statement that couldn't be ignored. It came with distinctive racing stripes running over the hood, roof, and trunk, a functional rear spoiler, fender air extractors, and that famous shaker hood scoop that vibrated along with the engine. This wasn't just decoration, it was performance design. The shaker hood was functional, feeding cool air directly into the carburetor to improve performance. Combined with the aggressive stance and aerodynamic styling, the Trans Am looked like it was built for the track, even if you were just driving it down the street. Performance figures from the period tell the story perfectly. The 1970 Trans Am could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 5.5 to 6 seconds, with a quarter-mile time in the low 14-second range, impressive numbers even by today's standards. But the real magic wasn't just in the speed, it was in the way the car made you feel. The deep rumble of that massive V8, the mechanical feedback through the steering wheel, and the way the car responded to every input made it a thrilling experience. It was raw and powerful but also surprisingly refined, a combination that very few cars could offer at the time. Unfortunately, 1970 also marked the beginning of the end for the golden age of muscle cars. With tightening emissions regulations, rising insurance costs, and the looming oil crisis, the era of high-powered version 8S was starting to fade. That makes the 1970 Trans Am even more special, as it represents the peak of Pontiac's engineering brilliance before restrictions began to water down performance. It was the last muscle car to truly embody the no-compromise spirit of the 1960s, fast, loud, and unapologetically bold. Today, the 1970 Pontiac Firebird and especially the Trans Am are among the most sought-after collector cars. Their combination of performance, design, and rarity makes them highly desirable. Original Ram Air IV models are especially prized, with prices often exceeding six figures at auctions. But beyond their value, these cars hold a special place in the hearts of enthusiasts. They represent freedom, individuality, and the thrill of pure mechanical driving. For many, owning a 1970 Trans Am isn't just about having a classic car, it's about owning a piece of American history. On modern roads, the Firebird still commands respect. Its low-slung profile, thunderous exhaust note, and timeless design attract attention everywhere it goes. It's not an easy car to drive by today's standards, there's no traction control or electronic assists, but that's exactly what makes it so engaging. Every turn of the wheel and press of the throttle feels real, visceral, and rewarding. It's a reminder of a time when cars were built with passion, not computers, and when driving was an experience, not just a means of getting somewhere. The 1970 Firebird also laid the groundwork for the car's future fame. Later models would gain pop culture stardom in movies like Smokey and the Bandit, but it was the 1970 redesign that established the Firebird as a true performance legend. It set the tone for a decade of success and gave Pontiac a reputation for building some of the most exciting cars in America. So that's the story of the 1970 Pontiac Firebird and Trans Am, a perfect blend of muscle, style, and engineering genius that still captures hearts more than 50 years later. It's a car that defined an era and continues to inspire generations of enthusiasts. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more detailed reviews of classic and modern automotive legends, don't forget to hit the like button. Share your thoughts in the comments, and most importantly, subscribe to VeloView for more stories that fuel your passion for cars. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep your engines roaring and your dreams driving forward.